Two cars driving down the road. One car rolls down the window, screaming racial slurs. Is that enough for him to claim stand your ground or self-defense and use that weapon? Does anyone think that's enough alone?
No.
No. Okay. Beer can. All right. Screaming racial slurs, throwing a beer can at his vehicle as he's driving, Marcus Wilson. Is that enough for him to claim self-defense, justifiable homicide, stand your ground, and use his weapon? Does anyone think the combination of racial slurs and throwing an object at his vehicle as they're driving down the road, is that enough?
No. Maybe.
Nope.
Okay, let's go. Who's Michael Sterling, you go first.
I say maybe because we know that it was 1 a.m. in the morning, right? We know it's a dark country road in Georgia. I happen to be from Georgia. I know my colleagues Byron and Leslie are not from here. You know, it's a dark country road in Georgia. It's late at night. It's 1 a.m. You don't necessarily know what's coming at your truck. When someone throws something, you don't know if it's some sort of deadly weapon that could potentially run you off the road and make you crash and, you know, and make you lose control of your vehicle. So I think that that's a maybe. I think that it certainly depends on the facts and circumstances as we would have to understand them in that moment.
All right. Anyone else think the racial slur and the beer can could be enough here?
I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, let's get to the next one.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Leslie. I'm not going to cut you off.
Sure. So the reason why I said I don't think so is, and Michael brings up some really good points. I think those are factors that definitely have to be considered. But we're talking about, I think, you know, reasonableness and whether or not it was reasonable for him to respond with gunfire. When he, you know, if under that fact scenario that you presented, Benny, I don't know that any reasonable person would believe that the response to gunfire was the appropriate response. At the end of the day, we're talking about defending yourself against reasonably believing that your life is in danger or the lives of others are in danger. I just don't know that under that fact scenario for me that would pass the smell test.
Let me draw.
All right, let's get to the final. Let's get to the final factor here.
Okay.
The final factor. I want to throw it into the mix because it's another one of the allegations here, and there may very well be testimony from Marcus Wilson's passenger, who was his girlfriend, who could testify about this. Racial slurs, throwing a beer can, and swerving, trying to run you off the road. Those three factors, you put them together. Is that enough to use a weapon? Is that enough to argue self-defense, stand your ground, justifiable homicide, however you want to term it? Byron, what do you think?
No, it's not enough. It doesn't matter to me if you add them all together. I don't believe it's enough. Leslie brings up a good point. We're talking about reasonableness, okay? So if it's a dark country road, I mean, I've never even heard what's a deadly weapon that could be thrown out of a vehicle? A hand grenade? A rock? I mean, no one's saying that anything hit the vehicle in such a manner that startled anybody to the point that they thought that they were in danger. I haven't read an article or anything that says anything like that. In fact, the girlfriend seems to come out and say that, hey, that everything's going to be fine. You know, so I do not believe. I think, listen, stand your ground. It needs to be something that's thrown out. It has no relevance, I believe, in today's society. And listen, if that's enough for self-defense, driving down the road, swerving, throwing a beer can, well, man, that happens to a lot of people every day. Road rage exists. So are we going to say anytime someone road rages against you and you feel a threat that you can shoot them? That doesn't make any sense. Stop your car, back up, drive faster, brake, move away. They didn't do any of it. They resort right to shooting somebody, shooting out of a moving car. That makes zero sense to me. And if someone wants to, and I believe the defense lawyer who's using the argument, stand your ground, I think it's ridiculous, and I think it hurts the credibility, and I think all they're doing is a disservice to their client.
I happen to know the defense attorney.
Yeah,
Maulu
Michael, I
Davis,
heard you jumping in there.
Yeah, I happen to know defense attorney Maulu Davis, who's a good friend of mine and a frat brother. He's an excellent defense attorney. In fact, Vinny, you probably know this. He represented the individual who was charged with burning down the bridge in Atlanta several years ago, was able to get him a dismissal. He's a very good attorney. And I would say that, look, when you add all those factors together, I think you have to imagine yourself in a defendant's point of view. I have heard the defendant say that something in his statement to the police, he said something hit his car and he wasn't sure. It was just a loud noise. If I am driving a car and I am looking at the road in front of me and I'm driving down a dark road and there are 5 people yelling racial slurs at me and they are swerving at me and throwing things at me, then the question then becomes, do I have a reasonable fear that my life at that point is in danger? And we don't have, and Byron added facts that just certainly aren't there yet, right? He says, well, did they slow down? Did they speed up? We don't know. We have no idea. You can't assume that they didn't try to do other things because that hasn't come out yet. That will certainly come out later. Did he try to do other things? Is not something that we can exclude that he did at this point. So the question then becomes, was he in reasonable fear of his life? He's driving down a country road. It's him and his girlfriend who says that obviously she heard the racial slur. She heard the can hit the car. And he's looking ahead. He doesn't know that it's just a beer can. All he's hearing is something hitting his car. And if you're driving at a rate of speed that is significant, you have no idea what's coming at you. When people are yelling racial slurs and they're swerving at you, you can get to a point. That's why I said maybe, because you can get to a point where you become in reasonable fear of your life such that you have to take drastic steps to defend yourself.
All right, folks, we'll leave it there. We'll continue to track this case for you, folks. This is a big one out of Statesboro, Georgia. When we come back,